And it's one of the greatest gifts that has happened in my life was to be able to use what God had given me as a face and a body to be able to travel the world and to be able to model and move into television and be in the media that I said that I loved so much before. So truly, you really only are as beautiful as your last good deed.
Welcome to Biz Stories Shared, where storytellers share their inspiration, motivation, some disappointments, and how they applied the lessons that led them to success. Stories are gifts. Listen as these gifts are shared. Now, here is your host, Charlotte Plott.
Hello, storytellers. Charlotte Plott here, and I am thrilled to bring you our guest today, Clarissa Burt. Clarissa, are you ready to be a storyteller?
I certainly am.
Oh, good. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. This is such an honor. Thank you again.
It's my honor. So take a minute and tell us more about you personally because we really want to get to know you better, and then give us an overview of your business.
Okay, so little Chrissy Burt was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1959 to middle class family, and just grew up loving everything that had to do with media and television and radio and movies and those beautiful, iconic, the Ava Gardners and the Rita Hayworths of the world,
yes.
and loved. In fact, I watched another movie just last night with Rita Hayworth in it. I've always got the old, the old movie channels on. So I just really grew up loving them and wanting to be like them, and sort of turned into an ugly duckling at a certain point and never thought that could ever happen for me. But God made me tall and skinny, and I used to have to buy my boys, my pants to the boys' department at Sears because I was too tall and they were the only legs that would fit.
Wow.
And so at a certain point, once I got past that gawky, awkward stage, there kind of was a light at the end of the tunnel and some hope for me. And I started modeling. That was back in the early '80s. It took me over to Europe, and I became one of the top runway girls in the world in the 1980s, the top 30 runway girls in the world in the 1980s. I came home from there with about 250 magazine covers. I also started working on radio and television there, and when I lived in Italy, and came back here 10 years ago, and I'm doing lots of fun things ever since. I do go back and forth to Italy frequently now, and I've just started the Clarissa Burt brand on QVC there. So very excited about that.
I read in your bio about that new makeup, the Clarissa Burt Beauty facial creams. So we're anxious to hear about that too. My goodness, what a story.
It's fun. It's a fun story. It's racked with, a lot of ups and downs, like all of our stories, and a lot of happiness and pain, like most of our stories. But I really wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, that's really wonderful to hear that that's just the way life is. So,
Yeah.
well, here at Biz Stories Shared, we start every show with our guest's favorite quote. So, what's your favorite quote, and how do you apply this to your everyday thinking?
Well, one of the things that I'm very passionate about is women and women's issues, and especially where their self-esteem is concerned, whether and usually their lack of self-esteem. Women always, they have a tendency to belittle themselves and to not think they are as great and as powerful as they really are. They tend to wait for permission.
Oh, permission.
Or ask for permission.
Yes.
Well, I could be here all day just on this topic. And so what I have come to believe that is very, something very needed is someone that, there are a lot of people out there working in the self-esteem industry, but it's one of the things that really touches my heart. So I love to help women look better, feel better, be better, and live their greater good. And when I was doing all my research and pulling together what I would like to be a book very soon, God gives me a little bit more time. If I could have just 28 hours in a day, I would never pull that off. But I was still working on that. In doing the research, I just realized that there's a lot of people that really need to hear that message. I come from a beauty industry. I love everything beauty and fashion. And I worked in that industry for a very long time. I don't know if you can see some of the pictures of my background, but I worked as a model for a very long time. And I saw a lot of very, very beautiful women and they sometimes weren't acting so nice. And then I saw, and they were a little full of themselves.
Yes.
I think I was a little full of myself back in the day too. I'm going to be really honest. But what I did come up to grips with, and was that you really are only as beautiful as your last good deed.
I like that.
And I love that. When I hit on that nail, I went, you know what? It's so true. And all of this could be taken away tomorrow. And it's one of the greatest gifts that has happened in my life, was to be able to use what God had given me as a face and a body, to be able to travel the world and to be able to model and move into television and be in the media that I said that I loved so much before. So truly, you really only are as beautiful as your last good deed.
That's very profound. And would you give us an example of how you apply this quote to your everyday life?
I make sure that I keep it in check every day. I realize that, certainly I don't look at my age, I don't look the way I used to look. But, there are a lot of people that still tend to think that I'm an attractive lady, and that's a lovely thing. But it certainly doesn't define me. It doesn't drive me. In fact, I very rarely put makeup on anymore, and I just love living in stretch and lycra. So
Right.
I'm not a provocative woman. I'm certainly far from the sexiest woman on the planet. But some people do think that I'm attractive. I know that. I thank you for that, but it's not what drives me anymore. I really want to feel beautiful about the things that I do, the things that I say, how I live, and how I can help bring others up and to live their greater good. And it might sound hokey, and it probably sounds corny to a lot of people, but it's where I am at this point in my life, and I'm pretty happy about the way I feel inside.
I think that it doesn't sound hokey. It
Yeah.
sounds real, and how wonderful that you have achieved that. So many of us aren't always that lucky to have achieved that place.
Thanks, Charlotte. I appreciate that. Yeah, and every day, is a gift, and everything we've got is a gift. And I mean, there are things happening. I mean, you can just get on any news media every day, and your Facebook, whatever it is, and you can see all of the things that are happening all over the world, and the tragedies that are really so numerous.
Yes.
And so only to realize just how lucky we really are, and to thank and be thankful for that. For the abundance that we really, and abundance doesn't mean the car you have in the driveway or in the garage. It doesn't mean the size of your home.
Hmm.
Abundance is something completely different, and it's really what you have in your heart.
Oh, that's
And the relationships that you foster and nurture.
oh, that is so true. Well,
That's my story, and I'm
yeah,
sticking to it.
good. I like that story. That's wonderful. And it's a good example for us, too. You've made a lot of good points that we need to remember, and we sometimes don't remember what really is important. We get kind of swept away. And so thank you for reminding us
Oh,
of that.
thank you. I think one of the things you're probably going to ask me also is something about business. And, the business that I've been in is basically a solitary business, in the
Oh,
sense that as a model, as an actress, and even in media, you're working with different people every day. You're in different locations and different locales every day. You don't go to an office and meet with the same people every day and have the Christmas party at the end of the year. That
yeah.
wasn't my world. So I did an extensive amount of traveling. And, when you do that, it's very hard to have relationships. The only thing that tethers you and grounds you is the family you have at home, you know,
Oh,
and even difficult to have relationships with the opposite sex at that point, because you're all over the place.
sure.
Not that I had beautiful relationships as well, but I realized the importance of relationships very late in life, and especially when I started into my entrepreneurial ventures,
Right.
how important relationship is, and how important it is to again, to create them, to foster them, and nurture them.
That, again, more profound statements, too. Goodness, thank you.
I can start saying some silly stuff if you'd
No,
like.
no, no.
You want to start exchanging recipes? We can do that too.
Well, thank you for sharing those. Those it help us to know the real you, and that's really why we like to talk about our stories and really get to know people. Because I'm going to say here that we're going to hear more about you being an internationally renowned supermodel, a television video producer, an award-winning actress, an author. But maybe along the way, you've just had a little whisper of discontent.
Oh boy.
We know when taking actions, you either win or learn something, and sometimes those lessons are more valuable than the lessons,
Yes.
than the
That's
actions that we took.
Yep.
So,
That
would you tell us one of those
I would tell.
times?
Yeah. As painful as it is, do we have any tissues around? Let me see. Hold on one second. I got a whole box right here. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
One of the things that I learned again late in life was, I just one day woke up and said, you know what? I want to be a producer, and I'm going to. This is all set in Italy, and I'm going to get an office and a secretary, and hang my name on the door. I knew nothing about business plans. I knew nothing about any plans. I had no plans. I just had an idea, and certainly that was a silly approach to business. But it's really the way I thought it worked. I thought you just went into business and it worked out, and that was not the case. One of the first things that I did find, and I find that it's useful advice as well, is that you really need to have your legal team in place before you make your first move.
Oh, sure.
And what I did is I made a lot of first moves and then had to scamper to find a legal team to help me fix. And I didn't do anything wrong, except being ill prepared.
Right.
And that was wrong enough, being ill prepared. So, and it was very costly, and it left some bad blood
Oh,
behind, and so that certainly was never my intention.
right.
But I would very highly advise having all your legalities in place. Have your lawyer take a look at anything and everything. I understand that there's also some really great resources. It's SCORE, and the Small Business Administration. They can help. So don't think that you don't get your legalities in place, and then remember how important relationships are.
Yes, doing that due diligence is so important, and I can relate. When you have an idea, if you had that idea, it must be good.
Right. Well, not only, and a lawyer is an expense that a lot of times in the startup phase, it's really not in the budget. It's not in
Right.
the game plan. And so I tried to skimp and cut corners, which I did very well until I had to pay for the lawyer. And one way or the other, you're going to pay him. One way or the other, you're going to meet him along the way. So usually that's the way it happens.
Right. Do it first.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you. Well, what I want to do now, Clarissa, is go to the other end of the spectrum, and
Yeah.
let's talk about a time in your journey when you had that another aha moment and you became aware of a new path to travel. So take us to that time when the light bulb went off and you took the steps that turned this idea into success.
Right. I think one of the first things that I wanted to do after I had started my production, and I had produced also the Miss Universe pageant for a while, about 5 years in Italy. I took the license there for 5 years, and 3-hour live broadcasts. Had a great time with that.
Wow.
Was then spinning off into beauty and beauty products of my own. So I was on Home Shopping Network in Italy with my own creams. Let's see them in the background there.
Yes.
You see them right here?
Yes.
Yeah. So the Clarissa Burt Beauty cream line on Home Shopping Network did very well. And then when I moved back here, that sort of went by the wayside. And that was, then Home Shopping Network was also bought out by somebody else. It was just a great time for me to get out. But I really had a ball pulling that line together. It was all natural and organic. It smelled like green tea, which was gorgeous.
Oh.
So I got involved in every aspect, from packaging to the coloring of the cream itself, to the perfummation of the cream itself, to all the stuff. I just had a blast pulling that together. And then getting it on air was a lot of fun as well. I also went into hair extensions and hair accessories back in the day. And so we're moving now with this new QVC contract. We're moving back into all of that. What I also like to do is to keep up on everything that's happening in beauty. So I became beauty editor for 4 different magazines.
Oh my goodness.
Actually, there were 6 different magazines. In When I was living in Los Angeles, I had a real great time. I did that for about 4 years. Had a great time. Went to all the beauty shows in Los Angeles and in Las Vegas. Just had so much fun doing that. And to find, what I'm very passionate about right now, Charlotte, is the Safe Cosmetics Act and following safe cosmetics. And I should really take you into my kitchen so you can see right now what's going on in there. But I basically all weekend have been making my own cosmetics. And I do that with all organic ingredients and organic essential oils. So I have a really good time making candles and facial creams and body creams, and I made oils. I make beautiful infusions and beautiful oils for your face and body. And this way, you're assured that it's at least one thing you can do to keep the toxins out of your body. The things that a woman generally uses about 26 different cosmetics in the morning on any given day. Between the shampoo, the soap, the conditioner,
Right.
the body cream, the face cream, the lipstick, the eyeshadow, all the stuff
Sure.
that we use, and it's all loaded with toxins. And people are getting very sick. Deodorants are one of the top culprits for breast cancer because the heavy metals that are in those deodorants are going into our bodies and
Oh my
close to our
goodness.
breasts through osmosis. And so I get very excited and very passionate about the Safe Cosmetics Act, following websites that, and all you have to do is Google safe cosmetics or non-toxic cosmetics to get a plethora now of information. There's another one called beautycounter.com that you can follow. And they are also doing a lot of lobbying. I was watching something yesterday that says that in the United States, first of all, cosmetics is regulated by one page
Oh,
here.
really?
That's it. And it hasn't been changed in 50 some years.
Oh no.
And this is a multi-billion-dollar industry that's running
Yes.
amok with our health. Whereas in the EU, and if you go over to Europe, it's this thick. There are 100,000 cosmetics, or excuse me, 100,000 ingredients that are put into cosmetics that are banned in the UK. Oh, excuse me, in the EU, in Europe. Here there are 10.
Oh no, that's unbelievable.
Yeah. So these are the kind of statistics that most of us do not know. And by the way, this goes for men and certainly for babies. As I understand it, and through my research, one of the first top 10 most toxic products is Johnson's baby shampoo.
Oh, how could that be?
It's the truth. Look it up.
Oh my
And
goodness.
these are the things that people don't know. So I love making the cosmetics and gifting them, having them ready for the holidays, using them myself. I'm not using any preservatives in mine yet. I have to, I'm researching more in the way of natural preservatives,
Right.
which can be lemon. There are different things you can use, and certainly the shelf life is not as long. But the only reason that the things are on the shelves as long as they are is because all of the toxic preservatives that are in them
Can keep them there.
to
Right.
keep them there. So it's okay for me to mix something up every week and use it. I don't mind that because I know that there's no toxin in it.
Wow. That is information that I had no idea was in fact, I'm sorry to say I've never even heard of the Safe Cosmetics Act.
Most women haven't, and therein lies the conundrum, because the lobbies are very good at keeping these things very quiet. Now, I know that last year, Walmart has jumped on board that I believe by the end of 2016, going into 2017, they're taking everything that has toxins off the shelves. So there's a lot of good news coming down the pike right now about things. Target has jumped on board. So the major retailers are also jumping on board. They're aware of it. They're getting it. But there's this interim period that the
Sure.
manufacturers need in order to make some changes, and some of them are really moving quickly.
Well, that's definitely good news. And it's understandable that they can't just clear their shelves and put all new stuff on immediately. It takes them a while to do the
Yeah,
research
yeah,
like you're doing.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's really vital for us to get that information out there. And I just want to tell you that we're really lucky to have you share those stories like that, and how you're going to make this part of your business a success, and you help other people when you
Yeah.
do that.
Love it. Love it.
So is there any other thing about your business that's really exciting you right
Well,
now?
yeah, I absolutely adore the fact, that all the cosmetics things that I've just told you about. I'm starting up something called the Broadcast Boot Camp. And
Oh,
that's where I'll be teaching people how to do what you and I are doing. And I'll be teaching them how to look, how to dress, how to make up, what to wear, sound bites,
oh, wonderful.
how to be in front of the camera, how to be interviewed, how to interview others, what products to use as far as cameras and editing equipment, and how to get it onto social media and uploading it onto YouTube and getting it onto your website. Because a lot of solopreneurs are, they're or mom and pop shops or
Right.
even smaller entrepreneurs do not have the sources and the refunds, the, the resources and the what was the word? The resources. Let's leave it at that. I
Yeah,
probably had another word. The resources to or the funds to have other people do it for them.
that is so true. When I started out, I had no idea, and so that will be a because
Isn't
people.
it fun though?
Oh, it
It's so
is.
much fun. And apparently Facebook is going to be 78% video next year because
Yes.
Mark Zuckerberg has jumped on board. He's making it very easy now for videos to be made and uploaded, and everything is going video because people will watch them.
Right.
I much prefer a video to teach me something, talk to me. But if I have to read something, an article or a book,
Yeah.
I it's finding the time, and it's finding the time.
It,
I'd much rather you tell me so I get it right away than I have to read it a couple of times to get it, you know.
and it is there any are there any studies that describe are there more visual learners than there more.
As it stands right now, all I know is that I've been doing my research about video,
Uh-huh.
and they are 1,000 times more likely to convert to a
Mm-hmm.
sale.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes,
Well,
video is really powerful. It's extremely important. And as you can well see, everything, I mean, look at where we were 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
right.
We were all still going to video production places to get a video done.
Sure.
Well, now we can do it with our own computers. We can do it with our own, smartphones. So, you know, and everybody's doing it.
And going back to QVC, I don't dare go on there because I immediately buy something. And so that's that it's actually video. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
call it video, but
Yeah.
essentially seeing the models and the items, it's a very good selling
It really
model.
is. It really is. I've really enjoyed the visual. I always have enjoyed visual. Tell me or show me,
Right.
and I will learn quickly. If I have to sit with a book or a manual, it probably isn't going to happen.
Right.
And I'm gonna lose my attention span and go do something that I find fun.
Hmm. I agree completely. Well, Clarissa, what's the best business advice that you've ever received?
Best business advice that well, the one that I learned again was the whole legal portion of it. The
Oh.
best that I've ever received was never stop marketing.
Mm.
Always keep yourself up there, out there, fresh, credible. Have your business cards with you at all times. Your book, if you have a book, make sure you have one with you, at all times. People, again, if you say, yeah, I wrote a book and it's called, Winter Wonderland, and people go, that's really neat, cool. But if you say, I wrote a book and it's called Winter Wonderland, and you actually show them the book, the visual is very strong. When I go, I was at Saturday at Barnes and Noble, and there are a couple of different books that I wanted to see that I might be able to get cheaper on Amazon because some of these books are really expensive. So I take pictures of them now and come home because that visual, if I
Oh.
wrote, yeah, I take a picture of the book and I come home and I go on to, so it's just the power of the visual. And that's what I feel is really important. Keep everything brand consistent, which I realized it was because I was a little all over the place as a
Okay.
solopreneur. My branding wasn't always consistent. It didn't always look the same.
Hmm.
And now it does pretty much looks pretty much the same across the board.
So is
So,
that something that you will be incorporating in your classes, how to
yep,
help people with their
that's
branding?
right.
Because
Yep.
that's a really difficult thing
Yeah.
to
And
figure out.
here's another thing that I'd like to leave. I don't know if it was advice that I had ever gotten, but it was something that I did here, and it really did stick. You know, everything you do and everything you say, everything you wear, again, every word you utter and how you utter it is your brand,
Yes,
because
true.
you are your brand,
Right.
and you walk and talk your brand all the time, every day. And people are very, very cognizant of that. They're very aware of that. They're very curious. A lot of people are waiting for you to trip up. I mean, I'm if I'm an image consultant,
Right.
or I say the first thing I do when somebody tells me that they're an image consultant is I look them up and down and
Yeah.
just you know and say, "Wow, really? You are okay." There's some of them I've seen. I go, "Oh,
I
okay." If you
know.
think if you think you're a brand consultant or an image consultant, great for you. And then there are other ones that are just beautifully pulled together, and that is very telling. So,
That's for
it
sure.
doesn't take us very long. Our minds are so now revved up in these last years because things are moving so quickly that it really doesn't. It used to take somebody like 7 to 9 seconds to make their first impression of you.
Yes.
And now to garner a first impression, it doesn't take any more than a second, maybe two,
Oh my
because
goodness.
we're thinking so much more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And especially these kids today that grew up on gaming, those
Oh,
gaming. I mean, they're making their minds are working so quickly, so fast.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, what is the vision of the future of your business? You've shared a little, but I bet
Well,
you have more.
the envelopment network is really what I should have been talking about. Right now I'm working on the boot camp, but 10, the envelopment network. And I call it the envelopment network because it's about the love of self and the love of others. And so I like 10 because I believe that every woman is a 10. And I like the Envelopment Network, which right now is an online. Envelop Her is an online multimedia platform. I'm working on the app as we speak that will connect women globally. And again, through a look good, feel good, be good, and greater good philosophy, they will connect. They will live in service and support of one another on a global level. They will give back to one another on a global level. Again, support each other, one another's businesses on a global level. And Envelop Her, the website that I put up this year, is in need of content. So I'm falling a tad behind on that, but it's all coming together very soon now that I've got a little bit more push and a little bit more help around me. So, as many of us, we're all looking for content. We're ready to put it out there
Right.
for you. And I'm looking for content that of women that have products or services that want to get the word out there.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Going to include your website in the show notes, that's for
Yeah,
sure. So we'll do that.
TheEnvelopmentNetwork.com. Yeah.
Envelopmentnetwork.com. All right, thank you for that. Well, Clarissa, can you share one of your personal habits that you strongly believe contributes to your success?
Yeah, I can. I get 8 hours of sleep every night, and that's really important for me. And so we're talking about my health, and I do keep up on all of taking my vitamins and my protein shakes and making sure, a lot of people are not getting enough protein, and we need a lot of protein for our all overall health, but it helps keep our brains alive and active. And so I'm been very diligent recently about making sure that, well, not recently, in the last 5 years, I got very up on taking my vitamins, making sure they're out, every day, and eating a little bit more healthfully. I am a little bit of sugar freak, but I love sugar, and I've backed off of sugar a lot and found sugar substitutes. I make things now in the kitchen with sugar substitutes that I think are more healthful, and so that's one of the things that I'm really, really, um, uh, I'm really, really trying to keep in place. I should be working out more. That's one thing that I will say. I've got to do a little bit more.
Yes.
But who doesn't? I think there are a lot of people in that boat. And the problem with me is it's a little bit harder when I travel the way I do. I travel frequently. And so I don't have one set. I don't go to one gym every morning at 5.
Right.
I'm all over the place there. So I have to be a little harder on myself. It's a good New Year's resolution, actually.
Yes, it is.
And there you go. That's a couple of the things I think that, yeah, I would say.
That's the mention of sugar. It's something that I know I've been hearing about for
Yeah,
years, and it's really, really challenging to not have it in our diet. It
it really is.
can do pretty good for a while, and then all of a sudden there it
Yeah.
creeps back again.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm an M&M freak. I just absolutely adore M&Ms. So, and I just read something about just how totally overall toxic they are. Just
Oh,
M&Ms won't love me very much right now. M&Ms more, so I hope I don't get some sort of legal action against me now. But I love them, so I still buy them M&Ms. I still buy you. I just try to eat a little less
right.
because they're not as good as
Yes.
they're not good at all.
I know. I know it.
Absolutely.
So hard. Well, Clarissa, do you have an internet resource to share with our listeners which helps your efficiency, like Evernote or maybe an app? And storytellers, you'll find the links to these sites in the show notes of today's episode at
Yeah.
bizstoryshared.com/Clarissa Burt.
That's a really good question. And I do use Evernote. What else would I say I use? An app. Um, Gosh, I have a couple of fitness apps in here that I
Oh,
absolutely adore. I do. You want me to tell you what they are? I
yes.
have the fitness apps and they are really cool. So here's one. It's called Map My Walk.
Oh, really?
And what it does is it maps it out. It's every time you walk, it maps where you're going and it tells you how many calories you've burned, how far you've walked, and it's great. And you can set it up where you can also, uh, um, have other people with you
Oh,
on this. So you see what
really?
they did and you kind of like it. And then there's another one here. It's Fit Radio. So I love Fit Radio because it's already mapped out for you. What you can see,
Oh, yes.
there are different types of music. So you may not, I love hip hop, for example. I don't
Right.
care. But if you go into hip hop, you can see that it's between 70 and 100 beats per minute. So it will already tell you each one of these music stations has a beats per minute. And so you can go in there. And so that again is Fit Radio, which that I absolutely adore. And then I love chanting. And I recently have become a little bit closer to but just Buddhism, just because, not for any reason, but it just kind of helps keep me grounded. And
Right.
and so there's another app on here that it's called Chant Buddy.
Chant buddy. All right.
And
I
Chant Buddy is really cool because it chants. It chants and you chant with it, and it has a timer on it, and it has a community, and it's just awesome. So these are the things that help to keep me grounded, and yeah, Evernote is on there. I'm just trying to think. There's Waze. I love Waze. Waze. You know Waze?
No, I don't.
Here's Waze. The
Waze.
little guy with the little
Oh,
white.
right.
So Waze is a navigational app that gets you. Well, most people have them in their car now, but if you don't, Waze gets you from point A to point B, and there are little Wazers along the highway. So everybody goes in and they sign up, and you can make your own little ways. And I have a little girl ways, and everybody along the way, like if I go from here to Los Angeles, I can see all the other people that are signed up to ways
Is that
along the
right?
highways. Yeah, it tells you where the police are located, where they're hanging out. It's just really cool. It's another really, really cool app, and I could be here all day because I got a gazillion of them on here. I mean, that's just one page of apps. That's apps on top of apps. I don't know if you can
I
see.
can
I
see
mean, I
them.
got so many. So I don't know if it would behoove us all day, but those are some of the ones that I just really, really love.
Well, great. Thank you for sharing those. They sound really helpful too.
Yeah.
Well, Clarissa, would you describe for us who are perfect referrals for your business? And by that, I mean business associates or clients that the listeners know who would benefit from doing business with you.
Anybody that wants to look better, first of all. So I'm really good at helping you just look your best, the right hair, the right makeup, the right wardrobe, in order to bring out the best
Right?
essential and your features. So I'm really, really, really good at that. I've helped so many people. I've even pulled together like 9 different weddings because people wanted me and
Wow.
my help with that. And then anybody that wants media, anybody that wants to know how to be in media,
Okay.
the how-tos of everything that is media, from this side of the camera to that side of the camera, how to produce your own videos, how to get them uploaded, how to get even onto your local television stations and even national television. And I could even get you onto some international television stations.
Wow.
I don't know if we want to go quite that far. People that have content that they want to get out onto media, onto all media.
Right.
So I can help you with the video portion of it. I can help you with the radio portion of it. I can help you with the magazine portal as well. Oh, I should have also told you I'm on the cover of Discover Phoenix magazine this month. I
Are
should go
you
get it and
really?
show you. Yeah, I have it there. I can go get it, but I don't know if you want me to leave the video.
Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but the video isn't going to be shown.
Oh, this isn't good. Oh, that's right. You wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to see it anyway. You're right.
I'm
You were just
sorry.
saying, oh no, that's fine. Yes, but I'm on the cover of Discover Phoenix.
Wow.
They have an online portal, so you can go to discoverphoenix.com or discovertheregion.com, and you can find them. They're great. Love Jody Wilson. She's a great friend of mine and really good at what she does. So Discover Phoenix, and she's put me on the cover this year
Wow.
as with the Envelopment Network, and she's got a great 3-page article in there with some different pictures, and I'm very, very thrilled to tell you I collaborate with her. But I collaborate with a lot of different publications and many different magazines, and so does it depend, depending on your type of business, I can also help
Okay.
with that. So yeah.
Well, it's wonderful to know that you're out there so that people can contact you when they need help with all of those
Oh,
things.
I'm out there, all right,
All
Charlotte.
right.
Really out there. Oh boy, am I out there, all right.
No, that's good. That's good. That's what we need. That's what we
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
Well, could you recommend just one book for for our listeners?
I can recommend a book. And the book that I'm going to recommend is because I'm very close to the Napoleon Hill Foundation,
Oh,
to Greg Reed, and to Sharon Lecter, who lives here in town. And Sharon Lecter has done some amazing work, the Rich Dad Poor Dad series. She's done many, many books, great books. She's in financial literacy. She's on the committee, the presidential committee for financial literacy. And she did write a book, came out at the beginning of this year, called Think and Grow Rich for Women.
oh my.
And I am in the book,
Really?
only as a quote, but I'm in the book. And she has many different women in there that are real powerhouses, who have told their stories. And Think and Grow Rich is just such a business staple anyway,
It
that if
is.
you haven't read it, you should. And it's kind of like the entrepreneur's Bible, if you will. So there's another really good read. And Sharon's book, Think and Grow Rich for Women. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on SharonLecter.com. Good friend of mine, but I absolutely, I wouldn't, not because I'm in the book, but because I really do believe in its message.
Good. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that, and I definitely will have that in the show notes. And I just want to say I've truly enjoyed listening to your journey and the stories that you've shared, and to get to know you.
Thanks, Charlotte. You kind. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Well, would you please share one more time how we can get in touch with you and any other resources that you want us to have, and
Yes.
then we'll say goodbye.
Okay. It is Clarissa Burt. So that's my name. It is Clarissa at clarissaburt.com. And that's BURT.com. And then you can find me on Clarissa Burt Official on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Twitter. And you can find me on on Skype and YouTube with the same name, Clarissa Burt.
And you're going to be in that magazine. What was it
Yeah,
again?
Discover Phoenix. So if you are in the Phoenix area, Discover Phoenix, and you can find that pretty much anywhere.
Good. All right.
Yeah,
Well, thank you for that. And thank you for being so generous with your time and your
you're
extra. I
welcome.
don't know how you had time to take and do this with all the other things that you're involved with, but I really
Yeah.
do appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. And you and all of your listeners, I want them to have the happiest, happiest of holidays.
Thank you very much. Okay, listeners, remember you can find the links to this resource and everything that we've been chatting about in today's episode by going to bizstoryshared.com. Clarissa Burt. Thank you again, Clarissa, and goodbye.
Bye-bye now.
Give the storyteller some love. Go to bizstoryshared.com, click on the iTunes button, and give a 5-star review. Thanks.